Most men imagine a shorter life as something dramatic, a major diagnosis, a sudden collapse, one obvious mistake. That changes everything. But for many men, life gets shortened more quietly than that. In habits, in patterns, in the repeated cost of what the body keeps absorbing without protest. Marcus did not think he was ruining his health. He thought he was doing what most men do, working hard, pushing through, taking the edge off at night, sleeping when he could, sitting because the job demanded it, keeping things to himself because that felt easier. From the outside, nothing about his life looked reckless. That is what makes these habits dangerous. They do not always look dangerous. While they are happening, they look normal. And that is the trap. A habit does not need to feel extreme, to be expensive. It only needs to happen often enough. That extra drink, that becomes nightly. That stress, that never fully comes down. That silence, that turns into isolation. That short sleep, that becomes a lifestyle. That chair you keep returning to for 10 hours a day. None of it feels fatal in one afternoon, but over years the body keeps count. So let's go through 5 silent habits that take years off a man's life, not to scare you, to wake you up. Before your routine starts making decisions your future self would never choose. The 5th habit is drinking to switch off. Not occasional celebration, not one drink with a meal. The pattern where alcohol becomes your most reliable exit, Marcus told himself. It helped him relax. And at first, it probably felt that way. The day would end. His shoulders would drop. His mind would slow down. But what felt like relief was often just sedation. And the body pays differently. For something that helps you escape, than for something that actually helps you recover. This is where a lot of men get confused. They think, I'm not out of control. And maybe they are not. But a habit does not need to destroy your life, to quietly shorten it. If alcohol becomes the nightly answer to tension, fatigue, frustration, or loneliness, then it starts stealing from the same systems you think it is helping. Sleep gets worse, recovery gets worse. Inflammation, mood, decision-making, and consistency all get dragged down with it. Marcus noticed it slowly. He was more tired than he should have been, more flat, less sharp, more dependent on the ritual than on the result. That is how many damaging habits work. They start as a reward, then they become a requirement. The 4th habit is chronic stress with no real release. This one is especially dangerous because men often mistake it for strength. They call it responsibility. They call it ambition. They call it handling things, but the body does not care what noble name you give the pressure. If it never gets a proper reset, Marcus lived like this for years and always available and always braced, always caring. One more thing mentally, then the moment required, he was not panicking. That was the problem. He had normalized, living slightly activated in a tight jaw, shallow breathing, a nervous system that never fully trusted the day to be over. Chronic stress is hard to respect because it rarely announces itself. With drama, it shows up as tension, poor sleep, headaches, irritability, high blood pressure, and the feeling that rest does not quite work the way it used to. And many men wait too long to treat that as a warning, because if stress becomes familiar, it starts to feel like personality. Marcus only began changing this when he noticed that he was never really coming down. Even after work, his body still felt as if it was waiting for another demand. That is when he understood something. Stress is not only dangerous when life becomes chaotic, it becomes dangerous when your body stops remembering how to return to calm. So he started smaller than most people expect. Walking after work, breathing before replying, lifting weights again, saying no sooner, leaving the phone alone for short stretches. None of those things made him soft. They made him recover, and recovery is not a luxury, it is maintenance. The 3rd habit is social isolation. disguised as independence. This one is easy for men to miss because it does not feel unhealthy. While it is building, it feels efficient. Less talking, less explaining, less vulnerability, less need. Marcus had people around him, colleagues and acquaintances, group chats, family he replied to eventually, but very few places where he actually said what was going on. And over time, something in him got harder, not stronger, harder. That is the cost of long-term isolation. A man starts telling himself he is fine alone, but what is often happening is that he is becoming less witness, less honest, and easier to disappear inside. Connection does not only help mood, it helps regulation. It keeps perspective alive. It gives the mind somewhere to go, other than deeper into itself. And when men lose that, decline can happen quietly. Not because no one cares, because no one fully knows. If this is resonating so far, subscribe. Not for fear-based motivation, but for the kind that helps you notice what is quietly shaping your life before it becomes harder to change. The second habit is living on too little sleep. Almost every man knows sleep matters. Far fewer men live as if it matters. Marcus kept borrowing from it. One more episode, one more scroll, one more hour of work, one more late drink, one more night, telling himself he would catch up later. But sleep is not a debt. The body ignores, it is a repair window. And when that window keeps getting shortened, everything else gets worse. Mood, appetite, focus, hormones, patience, training recovery, stress tolerance. A tired man does not just feel worse, he makes worse decisions while believing he is thinking clearly enough. That is part of what makes poor sleep so dangerous. It changes judgment before it changes behavior. So men keep living badly, with reduced capacity, calling it adulthood, while their body keeps paying interest. And the most dangerous habit on this list may be the one that looks the most harmless: sitting too much. This is the habit modern life hides best because it comes dressed as productivity, work, meetings, commuting, screens. More screens at home, Marcus told himself. He was busy. What he really was for most of the day was still, and the body does not thrive in stillness that lasts that long. This is not about looking athletic. It is about circulation, metabolic health, mobility, posture, energy, and the basic fact that a man can go to the gym a few times a week and still spend most of his life physically shut down. That is the modern danger. A body that gets small moments of exercise but leaves inside long stretches of inactivity. Marcus changed this without making it theatrical. More walking, stairs instead of lifts, standing calls, short breaks, a rule against staying seated for long stretches without interruption, small changes. But that is the point. The habits that hurt men quietly are usually ordinary, so the fixes must become ordinary too, not motivational burst. Structure, because the body responds to what you repeat, not what you promise. Once in a while. So what are the 5 silent habits that take years off a man's life? Drinking to switch off, living under chronic stress, withdrawing into isolation, running on too little sleep, and sitting far more than the body was built for. Different habits, same pattern. A man postpones repair because the damage is not immediate. That is how years get lost. Not always through catastrophe, through repetition. Marcus did not transform overnight. He just stopped calling harmful routines normal. Once he could see what they were costing him, that is where change begins. Not in shame, in recognition. You do not need to become perfect after watching this, but you should leave more honest about what your body has been carrying, because a longer life is rarely built through one grand heroic decision. It is built through what you stop doing repeatedly. Let the ideas compound.